Reason Eric isn't here is he's on. What's funny is that the instruction. Let me check. What's funny is that the instruction. Yep. I got YouTube sound there for a minute, but I turned it off so that we didn't get a huge feedback. Is anyone here normal? Nobody is normal. Are we doing a Verizon commercial? Can you hear me now? Actually, I think that guy went to Sprint.
Yep.
Yep, that would be us. Wait till we go black and white. Eric said audio and normal is just a setting on the dryer. Shoe has sound. Yay! We fixed it. We fixed it for this time. Does that mean we're going to kick him off the stream from now on? Yeah. Just, I mean, he's so anti-goofy. This is true. Eric is Goofy's favorite person to talk to. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I picture if Eric has the sound actually on wherever he is, and the kids are hearing this, they're like, "Dad, why are they talking about you and Goofy?" So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys see what I'm doing here, but the way I figured out that I have to do these hammocks, that one's a little bit far, is I actually have to sew them to the ends so that the thread will grab it. Once I sew it, I'm using some thread glue to keep it on, to make it stay attached. This one's going to be a little bit. Eric did. He sewed his plastic sails to the Jolly. Wow. Wow. Look at the chat. Do you need an intervention? That could be. Well, I don't know if the kids can read. Of course, you do know what I'm doing right now, right? No, better than that. I just took a shot of that, what he said there. And I just posted it in the general chat text. Yes, indeed. And I'm saying, huh? Exactly. Well, and I'm saying this just in case he ever says, says that he doesn't. Yeah, I know what he's doing. He's trying to do reverse psychology on me. It's not gonna work. So he posted after I posted that on the chat. He posted hashtag love Goofy and a picture of Goofy with hearts. Oh. I think that just means I think I've broken him, is what it is. After 7 days of Goofy posts, he's like, I'm done. I will tell you all the secrets. Yeah, Mark said if you can't beat him, join him. Right, Eric? Oh. So as I was saying, once I get this sewn through here, I'm putting the thread roughly halfway, and then I do 2 knots, one on the top, one on the bottom, and that's how it's working out. Still not sure how I'm gonna. Well, and like right here, I got to be careful right there because that one is starting to fray. I'm going to try and salvage it. I should be able to. And then once it's in the ship, it's not going to matter. But I'm not sure how I'm going to weather it. I have some brown and some yellow and all that, but I'm like, nah, I'm not sure about brown and yellow. Looks like somebody shit the bed or the hammock. Mine's been doing that a lot here lately.
Nah, you're kind of sputtery. I apologize if nobody can see what I'm doing. It's working with tiny little parts and drilling tiny holes and working with a little teeny tiny bit of a cockpit. Nah, I'd never say something like that.
Oh. Once I get these done, I might, speaking of cockpits, I might get the X-Wing cockpit out and finish it finally. Actually, Shu, they're not proper seaman knots. They are just granny knots. It's the best I can do to get this thing to stay together. Like I said, it's not a burrito. Exactly. We didn't have to tie knots. We had a hotel. No, they don't. Actually, they do. I just thought about it. You have to rig the flaps. They have to be set. Yeah, that's what we called it. It's it's what it is you're setting the flaps up so that they don't go too far down or too far up. Because each of the hydraulics are slightly different. And it's, there are some interesting problems that happen on F-16s and other. It's fly-by-wire aircraft that weird things happen. Well, it's not adding computers. It's the not realizing the code does what the code does. I had a hydraulic problem on the flight controls. It everything pointed to it. Actually, everything pointed it to being a gyro problem. Sorry. But it turned out that instead of a gyro, it was a hydraulic actuator. We worked that jet for like 2 days, and then we got a message from Misawa that said that, the tech reps got a message from Misawa that said, if this MFL happens, which is a gyro MFL, it could be this servo actuator. I ran into some really interesting problems on that airplane. And some of them, it was funny when you get a message from the tech reps and you're like, first in the world ever, what was it? Vertical velocity indicator had on a D model with two of everything. The rear cockpit vertical velocity indicator had a blown seal, which was causing the aircraft not to pass flight control bit. First in the world happened in Japan. The second in the world happened 3 days later in Spangdahlem, Germany, and I was the fortunate bastard that got to figure that out. Those tech messages were lifesavers. I have too, Shu. I love sleeping in a hammock. I had one in my college dorm room when I was in college. Of course, that's where I would have been if I was in a college dorm room. But they are comfortable. They take up no space. Donnie will appreciate this. I used to DM from my hammock.
Really?
Yes. I had a shelf next to me, and I had this is going to date me. I had my record player where I could put the correct record on, because we came up with a whole band of AC/DC, but it was not the AC/DC, the actual AC/DC. It was Osmodeus, so on and so forth. I don't remember who all we had in it, but I always had Hell's Bells queued up on the record player, so that when the party walked into the wrong spot, I would just reach over and flip it on, and I'd say, "You hear this?" And they'd be like, "Oh no." Now, if I can get this last one. Yep. Good times back then. Hate it when these things start to fray. Yep. Crap. I lost most of my most of the thread on this one came out at the end. Let's see if I can salvage it. It's the problem with using this thread and such a big needle on this really thin. Well, it's basically a muslin. But anything thicker would be way out of scale. No. Look at this thing. But the problem is the thickness of the thread. I have to use a really thick needle like this. If I could use a standard needle, it would be a whole lot easier. And things like this are why Eric has not yet finished the rigging on the Jolly.
I haven't finished soldering yet.
Until this glue is getting up there in age. Get the needle that I have to stick back into the tube that it comes out of. It's really small, and so it actually seals itself up pretty good. Get the rest of the glue up. Pardon? Yes. I've posted several times that this is the stuff to use on your rigging. And if you look, I don't think you can actually see the needle, but there you can barely see the bump, and then there's the needle in there. I mean, yeah, it's I mean, this stuff is awesome. I think it was when I did my plastic black pearl that I first came across it. So Eric says, I feel the concentration from Spence's video. Donnie's audio is choppy and low. I believe, Mark, I think I bought this stuff on Amazon. I know the first bottle I ever bought of it, or tube of it I ever bought, was through Model Expo online. But Amazon carries it now. And I want to say that I bought 5 tubes for not a lot. Hang on, let me just take a look real quick. I think it was under $20.
In the video at the same time.
Are you saying your computer can't walk and chew gum at the same time?
Basically.
It's not there. I'm not finding my order for it. Must have bought it off of eBay. Yeah. No, it was $30 for 5 tubes. Had to be. It's not super glue. It's the hypo cement, because the if I use super glue, this super glue, all super glue dries pretty firm and brittle. This stuff dries like rubber. Wow. Video is well behind on YouTube. This stuff dries rubbery, so it actually has some flex. And yes, Mark, for the wooden ship build, I would suggest you get at least 1 tube of this. Like I said, I think I've got 4 in reserve because I love this stuff so much. And I've used it for other things besides just thread. I've used it for, like if I've got a really, really small part that might need to flex, that something, especially when something's broken off, I've used it because it is sticky, but it's not like super glue where it glues me to everything. That's not a bad price for it. I just looked on Amazon and most of them are about 6 to 8. U.S. Coast Guard Eagle. Just because. Wow. It's a beautiful ship, but wow. So, Mark, I found one. It's only $817. Or if that's all. get two, they're cheap. Well, historicships.com is out of stock right now, but they have it for when they have it in stock. They have a Constructo kit of it for $159. You know, Mark, I would just Google the kit and look around and see if you can find it, because I know that Model Ships online, or no, Model Expo online carries Constructo. Model Expo, by the way, guys, is a wooden ship. Their main thing is wooden ship. But they've actually started getting into plastic ship models because there aren't a whole lot of wooden ship builders, and wooden ships take a long time.ri No, there's Constructo, Ocre, Artisa Latina are the ones that come to mind, but there we go. I'm looking at Model Expo. There's Maris Stella, Billings Boats, Dumas model Boats, Master Carball, Mantua, Corral, Dusek, Mamoli, Constructo, Falconet, and Model Expo has their own internal brand, which is Model Shipways. Yeah, there's quite a few, but the problem is they take forever. There was a reason. I mean, even a small, simple one, depending on what's going on, can take a couple of years to build, which is why I got Kenny to say 2 years on the wooden ship build. So Eric's posting pictures of him out and about in the sun, and apparently he's babysitting his wife.
Really?
Yes, because she's in the picture. I guess I can't fault him for hanging out with his favorite person, himself. See if I can get this thing over here and figure out where these things are supposed to go. Wherever I want, I know. It's just, you know. Oh crap. I just realized something. Brought that instruction page upstairs last night. Don't have it here, so I'll be back, guys. You can talk bad about me while I'm gone.
Here.
Yeah, but if you do talk bad about me while I'm gone, I really want to know what you said, because I'll tell you if it's true or not, and I'll probably talk bad about me too.
Okay.
I'm afraid I'm a bit too nice of a person to talk bad about somebody, at least behind their back. Actually, Donnie, I had a question that I was going to ask you at some point during the stream. Army Painter. I have been thinking about getting a set of actual, brush paints, not just the airbrush stuff. I really like Vallejo, but I saw Army Painter's got this like huge set, like 100 and some odd colors. Yeah. From what I understand, Army Painter's basically like a less expensive version of Vallejo, right? Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's not really that much of a problem for me. I got a Vortex mixer. Yeah, I mean, I saw that online. I saw it has a lot of colors because I don't have a whole awful lot of like actual brush paints, and I've got figures and other stuff sitting around that I've heard those aren't bad. Yeah, because I've got some figures. I've got a couple of busts now, and I need some kind of decent hand brush paints. Okay. They sell. Well, I'm kind of in the market right now for a big set. I don't know what kind of big sets they might have. Oof.
That's why I get a lot of my paints. That's why I get a lot of my paints off of the scale model graveyard every weekend on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's not every weekend, but I want to say there were some last weekend actually. Matter of fact, this weekend I'm watching and bidding a reference book for building Titanic models. No. Those books cost upwards of $30 usually. Some of them cost over $100. You know, that's you broke up pretty bad there, man. I still didn't catch it, but see, the thing is that my thoughts on the books is that I've already put a shit ton of money into this thing, and I'm going to be putting a little bit more in because Andrew has redone the internal framing to where it fits the model scale modeling kit completely. So I've got a internal frame for a Titanic that hopefully I can sell. If not, no, because I'm buying the new one. Like I said, I got entirely too much money into this thing. Oh, the internal framing? Yeah, it's got the track, the dual track for the lights to run forward and back. And it also has spots to mount the speakers and the control board. Plus, I'm also getting a additional part from him for the what's it do? It's I've lost my mind. It's wireless remote control for it to turn it off and on. Yes. Plus, it's coming. it comes with a 3D printed template so that you can, to show you where to cut the hull so that you have an opening in the bottom should the board ever go out, or should Model Scale Modeling come out with a updated board. There's a lot to this new kit, and because I already have one from him, he's going to give me a deal. I'm just trying to sell the old one. Exactly. Actually, Andrew and Model Scale Modeling are completely different companies. Andrew's just done a partnership with them to be able to work with them on this product completely. And I expect at some point that Model Scale Modeling, I've heard rumors at least, that they are thinking about putting in or changing the board to where it has a little bit more functionality to where you can change which scenes it's playing, and there's some radio control or remote control to where you can change from one scene to the next, where it's the lights and the music, the sound, and everything else that's in the background. Because right now it just does a random, and what you get is what you get. And there's 20 tracks for the sound and the light configuration. Damn it, this thing is getting in my butt. But there's 20 different tracks. But it would be nice to go, I'm not really feeling this one right now. Skip it. They have a couple of kits out there that I'm contemplating. Did all this work to get the hammocks together? Now it's being a pain in my ass to try and get the hammock tied in there. Of course, if the crossbars weren't there, it'd be a whole lot easier. But they said to glue the crossbars in.
Yeah, you could set Slack action at your item, so it's got to be the Slack computer that's joking or
I think it's the fact that we're missing one guy.
You think that's what it is?
I think so. It's not Spence's fault this time.
No. You're mistaken, Buck. It is most certainly my fault.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Huh? Surgery. Here we go.
Now if I can just get some glue on that knot. That's actually 2 granny knots, and I'm not too concerned once it's on there if the hammock slips up and down. I'll figure that out later. So it was funny because when I left and I said you guys could talk bad about me, Eric said, "Oh, we will, Buck." Except for he's not here to talk. So this is where I find out that the lead I left on the other side is not long enough. And I was right. It is not long enough. I've already glued it. So I'm going with it. The fun part is making sure that I don't knock that light off. No, if you look on my screen, there's a lamp right above where I'm hanging the hammock. And there's the light in that little lamp. You know, I knew that would make him show up. He wants to see what's going on the Pearl.
Hey guys,
Hey, Eric.
it's like a virtual photobomb.
So, Eric, I thought you were babysitting.
Uh-oh.
He virtually photobombed out. Yeah, I guess. That's what it looks like. So except for this hammock is straight out, which I'm trying to fix right now by loosening that up. That's a little bit better. What do you think of my hammock?
Yeah. Doesn't look too bad.
Here, let me... You're breaking up, Donnie. I'm going to only put 2 in. I made 4. I'm going to put the other 2 on the other side. There's a better shot of the hammock. I mean, it's good enough. So let me go back to the other camera. Yeah, I've got that one. I've got this one. They show in their pictures another one here. I'm thinking the next one, actually, I'm going to put here, and then I'm going to match them on the other side.
You can put him on one end and short. Because he puts his head on the end of the short.
Yeah. Well, and actually, instead of putting them here and here, the stairs are going to come. There's going to be some stairs here, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to put it here and here, which is right next to the mast instead. And has the added bonus of having 2 lamps on it. So let me see. Well, they're not that bright. They aren't. And they're flickering SMDs that are inside those lamps. Not sure, is that grabbing now? Kind of. Oh, I hate to waste that big bubble of glue. Really wish this stuff was more like toothpaste. You squeeze the tube, when you stop squeezing it, it stops coming out. Oh, yay. It appears DroidCam has frozen. Now it is. Okay, maybe that'll help. I just turned off one of the alternate cameras.
Is my video and sound coming in good, or?
Yeah, yours has actually been the best all day. Whenever you talk, it comes through loud and clear. I haven't seen your video freeze up. Donnie's microphone says every now and then says, "I don't like you, man." Yeah. You hurt my head, man. Okay. So that was kind of silly. I went and got a clamp for this thing and I never put it on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it in there. There. Yep. So Eric said that he had to try it. And then he says, yeah, I can buck and Spence, but no Donnie. So I think he's trying to say, here. I don't know. And I'm typing back, yeah. Eric, photo bummed us. Not bombed, bummed. B-U-M-M-E-D. I'll give it a shot and see how it works. Well, the only problem is I've never put more than the 8 gig that it came with. Or, yeah, 8 gig. Because my old machine, that's probably part of it. You're running out of memory. My old machine, I still need to open up and take a couple of sticks out and move them over to this one, because that one I think had 24. But I have to make sure that's what I was going to say, is I need to make sure that they're relatively compatible, because some of those, I know part of the problem was that some of those are like 7, 8 years old. One of these days, I'm going to actually get the correct tools for doing something like this. You know those little curved needles? You know those little curved needles they use when they do a suture? That's what I should be using. So have you noticed that a lot of your streaming services are starting to team up together? It's like, well, it's like Discovery Plus, when it came out, has like 6 channels that it actually has stuff from. CBS All Access just became Paramount Plus. Yeah, and they've got 4 or 5 different channels on there. What I think was really cool when they did that is that I finally have my Smithsonian channel back. I stopped paying for it through DirecTV. I love my Smithsonian channel.
I don't know how easy this is to see, but I've got 4 LEDs back behind that bar, and that cockpit slides over top of them, and there is probably about a hair's width worth of clearance in there.
Wow.
It is nuts just how little space there is in this thing.
Ew, I just dropped a drop.
A lot of hacking, a lot of drilling. But I've already decided it's going to be engine lights, so be it.
Use magnet wire. It's the thinnest stuff out there.
I've got the 30 gauge wrapping wire stuff.
The wrapping wire actually has a thicker phenolic on it.
Yeah, but it also is a heck of a lot easier to sheathe and solder.
Yeah. Well, I use the Boyd Crompton method with the
heat your iron up to like however much.
Heat it up and
Melt
wait
it.
until you see the smoke for the phenolic melting off.
Yeah.
Or if I try that and it doesn't work well quickly, I have my little flamethrower. It's not a lighter. It's a flamethrower. I don't think you can see the flame.
Oh, I can see it, yeah.
Yeah. Fill that up every now and then, and it works really well. You ever put something down and you're looking all over for it and it's right in front of you? Me with those tweezers just now.
More than I'd care to admit.
I've done that. I've been tearing the whole house up looking for my car keys before. I reached in my pocket and they weren't there. I knew they weren't. I didn't have them. Of course, if I'd have checked my other hand, I'd have been okay. My wife does that with her cell phone quite regularly.
Having to cut away things that I hope are not too fundamentally important.
If it was important, they'd put a thing on there that says "Don't cut here."
Little yellow caution stripes.
Exactly. It's a great thing about modeling is if you're building something and you cut something off that needed to be there, you can put something back in its place.
Something does need to be in its place. A resistor needs to be here.
You can never save resistors unless Eric is around.
Oh, is he not still? And Donnie meets us in the middle.
Well, and we're both working on things from fantasy, and Donnie is working on something that's real.
Wait a minute, Star Wars isn't real? What?
No. Well, it used to be a long time ago, really far away from here. That's what I just said. Well, there is that. I mean, of course it's real. Look at my, here, I'll show you. Hang on, where is it? Where's my mouse? There. Look at my icon. Of course it's real. You know, guys, I think that 2 hammocks are going to be plenty because this is going to be I just don't feel like dealing with that much pain in the behind again. Well, because you're also going to have to duck down and look across the entire ship to see the other 2. And you know what? That is pretty awesome. I love it when I do something and it didn't work out the way I expected it at first. But then I look at it a different way, and it actually makes sense. Apparently, DroidCam says it's active on the phone, but it's frozen on this phone. So I'm going to go ahead and just shut it down on the my second DroidCam one. But let me make sure it shuts off. Okay, yeah. So if you look, the end of the hammock is here. And you can see this porthole over here where the cannon is going to fire out. There's one that matches it on this side. There's a reason why this is so far. So the guy doesn't get hit in the head by the cannon when they fire it. This one is pretty much the same thing. It's my model. I can make up any story I want to.
Unless it's Mr. Gibbs' hammock. Unless it's Mr. Gibbs' hammock, he never seemed to be able to catch any decent sleep.
Yeah. Well, it was funny too because last night Andre had flipped on the TV and one of the Pirates movie was on, and I was like, "Oh, on Stranger Tides." Like, within a couple of seconds, I was like, "Yeah, it's on Stranger Tides." She's like, "No, it's not," and she hits the guy, and it is on Stranger Tides. But it's just, it's funny because I watched the movie last night, and I drive her nuts with that all the time. Even movies I've seen once 30 years ago, if it comes on TV, I will, when she's watching it, I will sit there and I will, within 10 seconds, usually identify it if I know it, if I've ever seen it.
Yep. Same here.
I used to drive my ex-wife nuts with that on Star Trek, the original series. I could identify an episode about 90% of the time within the first second to second and a half that it was on the TV. Well, see, back when Star Trek went into syndication on was it CBS? I think it was first CBS and then NBC. It's kind of funny that Star Trek is now owned by CBS again. But back when it went into syndication in the 70s, it was on 5 nights a week. And I usually watched it about 4 nights a week.
I grew up in an area that really didn't have very good cable. And when we moved out here, cable wasn't very good. And my mom bought all of the Columbia House tapes, the same one Kenny's trying to get rid of now. And usually, you come home from school or something and just pop one in, watch a couple episodes.
Yeah. Let's see.
We didn't actually have any local stations that ran them. I mean, I think there were a couple that ran them like really like super early in the morning, but nothing like near prime time or even any hour that was reasonable.
Well, so that's the thing, Spence, is you just pointed out the age difference between you and me. Yeah. Because when I was a kid and when I would come home from school, you had ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS, and there was no such thing as cable. We had the first company in Anchorage that did anything like that was it was called Visions, and it wasn't cable. It had this really funky antenna.
Well, when they were building the house up here, the day they moved in, when the house was finished, they were installing cable along
Yeah.
the road. And so the guy came up. I guess he was going house to house, offering the packages. Somehow we got HBO for free and kept it for free for I don't know how long. But yeah, we got cable just as this house was being finished, and that was, I must have been 2 or 3 years old at the time. That was the very late '80s. But it was based off of a. Basically, we were piggybacking. The cable itself was piggybacking off of some other service, and they were just basically running long stretches of wire out this far. So
Yeah.
we didn't have. We only had about maybe 10 or 12 channels. That was it. I mean,
I remember those days. As a matter of fact, I remember when we moved to Juneau, Alaska, we got cable, and Mom and Dad decided to get this brand new thing that they started with movie channels. HBO was the first movie channel. We got it. And the first movie I ever watched on HBO was The Car. That's kind of a traumatic experience for a 13-year-old kid who's home alone.
yeah.
Want to find that as a model sometime and build it now. So I'm not going to start sanding this area. I mean, there's a shit ton of sand, and I think I'm going to Dremel it instead because I can fix it with wood putty. But I got to sand all of these edges down to even this one. This is the last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spars in the front. No, I ain't doing that right now. Because I have a different Disney product I can put up here.
Here comes Eric.
No, it's not Goofy.
Yeah.
Yep. The X-Wing cockpit. No, this is Disney. Disney now owns it. And I agree with you. Originally, it was pre-Disney. But, let me see if I can find one of the manuals.
Oh yeah, they're slapping Disney on everything. There's a Disney on this Slave One box now.
There you go. Oops, wait. Hang on. Oh. All right, let's turn it upside right. Or no, it was upside right the first time. There you go. Disney. Because the mediocre Star Wars ones, I don't think Disney owned it yet. Did they own it for the last 3?
Yeah. George Lucas had a treatment for 7, 8, and 9, and they didn't go with that. They went a different direction.
The biggest problem with 7, 8, and 9 was it was 4, 5, and 6, which is actually 1, 2, and 3 revisited.
I still think it's basically the fact that J.J. Abrams came in and did kind of what he did with Star Trek, made something nice and flashy, and didn't really have a overall plan or story. Just it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, let's do that. And then, okay, well, what do you do after that? I don't know. I ain't going.
So on Discord, Kenny and Eric are talking about who needs a haircut. uh, Yeah, Darth Vader had made such a huge impact from the original Star Wars movie, but he was only on screen for less than like 15 minutes. I think it was only 12 minutes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he suddenly became a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, it's just not very good writing, not very good coordination, no overall game plan.
Yeah.
I mean, you mean Lucas kind of similar, but but it's just, I mean, too many cooks in the kitchen.
The thing is, George Lucas should have. I mean, the first three movies were really, really good. And then he started deciding to change them after the fact, and that never works out well.
Yep.
Because I will tell you right now, and at 78 or at 13 years old in 1978, Han Solo shot only. He was the only one to shoot. Greedo didn't stand a chance.
No, McClunky or whatever the hell it's supposed to be called.
Did you say something about something being clunky? That'd be my chick.
No, was it they actually edited it to where Greedo said something like McClunky or something before. Yeah. Something really weird and stupid.
They were having Greedo go for his gun. Which is dumber than dirt, because, see, they turned Han Solo from a badass son of a bitch to, he's still not bad, but they turned him from what was originally a really bad guy into a really good guy. And that's not bad per se, but Han Solo was not a good guy. I mean, at the end of the first movie, yes, he changed his ways and got a medal and everything else, and it took him 40 years to give Chewie a medal. Is that racist? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I prefer not to answer that one. I think oh yeah, Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Where I really just don't like it is in Jedi when Vader turns and picks up the Emperor and throws him down the bottomless pit. He didn't say anything. He just did it. But in the newest version, he actually screams no, and it's that weird, kind of James Earl Jones sounding scream, and it just killed it for me when I saw that.
Yeah.
It's like it was so much more powerful when he just didn't say anything. He just looked over and grabbed him and threw him.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things, too, that if they had anybody else do Vader's voice, it would not have been the same. wouldn't have had near the impact.
Yeah.
Then it's just like in Robin Hood. Did not know until he showed up in Robin Hood that only Sean Connery could play King Richard, I think it was. 2 hours into the movie, Sean Connery shows up as King Richard, and it is my firm belief that if anybody besides Sean Connery had played that part, it would have ruined the entire movie.
Yeah. Although, Patrick Stewart, Men in Tights.
Yep. He will be missed.
I haven't seen Picard. Oh.
Well, see, that's the funny thing about Picard and Discovery. There are certain shows that I just, as soon as they are released, I'm like all over it. Got to watch it. Got to see it right now. I didn't actually start watching Picard until 6 weeks ago or so. I watched the first one and I was like, yeah, this isn't Star Trek. And I turned it off actually within probably the first 10 minutes.
I watched the premiere of Discovery when they did the pilot episode or the first episode on broadcast, but I've just been too lazy to buy a all access subscription.
Yeah.
That's my big thing right now. My internet can do it. It's just I just not been really motivated to buy the $5 a month or whatever it is now.
Okay, now I'm a little bit unhappy with.
Although there is this service, I think it's called Tubi or something, TUBI. They actually have all. I've actually been watching all the Thunderbirds lately. They have those on there. Yeah, I need to go check that out too. But yeah, I'm a huge Thunderbirds fan.
I started watching Space 1999 on YouTube. I didn't get very far. It was, the cheese almost killed me, man. Yeah. I do too.
Uh, I think I might have heard of that. Yeah.
There was a off the wall series on Amazon that they did the first season, and I was like, this is stupid, but God, is it funny. And I watched the whole thing, and I'm pissed off that they have never renewed, and it's been 3 or 4 years. It was called Other Space.
Other Space.
Yes. It was funny as hell. What it was they, the crew who basically doesn't get along together, they hate each other, It's kind of like a crew full of Spocks and McCoys. But they are on this prototype ship that takes them, that is supposed to be faster than speed of light or whatever, but instead it puts them into a different universe. And they're trying, the whole thing is they're trying to get back home. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. I don't even know if it's still out there. Just because.
I've had some round 2 decals like that.
Yes, I'm looking at Other Space, and it was not picked up for a second season. It was originally not an Amazon thing. It was Yahoo Screen.
Interesting.
And Yahoo Screen apparently just disappeared. But yeah, it's actually available on eBay, or not eBay, on YouTube to stream.
One thing I learned a while back, I think it was Thanksgiving last year, on Twitch, there is actually a Mystery Science Theater 3000 channel. Yeah. I don't think they show like full episodes. I think they edit out like big chunks of it and stuff. And there's like a waiting screen that crops up pretty often. But yeah, I think they have a streaming for a lot of their older stuff. Yep. Yep. I had a chance to buy the some models of the robots once, but I didn't do it, and now I regret it. Yeah. I can't remember who made them. I used to remember, but I don't know. Don't anymore. Yeah, I have to go back and watch and remember who made those.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's more minis and stuff, so, or at least he is these days.
You guys are going to make Eric show up.
I'm trying.
Talking about minis. Eric comes up. I'm here. Yep.
Get out. Get out of there.
You know, the really sad part for him is that Goofy has not shown up once. Because he only bugs Eric.
Maybe Eric shows up when he's around.
That could be.
Yeah.
The guys are talking about hair on Discord.
Good boy.
Yep. This is the fun part. This is where I figure out what they're trying to tell me they want on here. Or actually, Constantine is telling me what he wants on here. Because I have to take the parts off of this thing to put them on the brass. Fortunately, this one looks like it's only got 2 pieces, and then looks like there's a couple of indentations for aftermarket kit parts from him, which those have not yet been painted. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is, remember, I built this on a stream, so I have to take the parts back off. And I knew I was going to get the aftermarket at the time I built it. Yep. It was a Star Wars night, and I didn't have anything else that I could do for the, or not Star Wars, but a X-Wing night, and I didn't have anything else I could do.
All right. Well, all 6 of those LEDs are in there. 1 just fell out. Thank you. 2 just fell out. Thank you. But they are in there and they clear.
Cool.
Ugh. I think now. Oh, they're glue. Now I got to figure out how many resistors I need. So now I get to play with electricity.
Don't do it. Yeah. Just plug 40,000 volts in there and it'll be fine.
Well, if I really don't need resistors, Eric really needs to come on here right now and tell me that I don't need resistors.
Yes. And he'll start asking questions, and Spence will get frustrated. Okay. There's the glue. This one part keeps trying to escape. Yes. What I'm actually doing is I'm taking the parts off of the original cockpit and putting them into the holes on the photo etch. That one's not playing nice. Where's my file? And since this piece has no other parts that have to go onto it, I'm going to put a few drops of glue on here, put it in place. It says to do the glue from the backside, but I don't know. I'm like, this is my model. I'll do it the way I want. I'm a rebel.
$570K.
So one spot of glue there. Now, hit it backside. I'm also doing what the instructions say, but just a little bit out of order. It says anywhere that you have lights that are going to be going through the decals, to paint over it with super glue. Actually makes it, well, not so much light diffusion. The super glue, I realized just now what the super glue is for. It's because that way you don't have the decal inadvertently get a hole punched in it. You got something backing it. All right. Look. Yay. I put 2 parts on there. Uh-huh. think, just to give some variation, no, that's too big. Because he provided some of his own plant-on details. That's got to be it. It's the only part that looks anything like that. He provided some of his own plant-on details, and just to give it extra light, or give it a little bit difference, I'm not painting them. No, that resin. And what's funny is if you can see that little hole in the center, that little hole just told me exactly where this thing goes. Because you can barely see the hole on the instructions, but it's there. I tell you what, I cannot wait until my next part work starts. Supposed to be charged tomorrow, and I cannot wait to start working on the 1701D. That thing is awesome. Yeah, it will, and it's going to be another one of those that I can't fit fully on camera. Yeah. Well, it's like the Titanic. When I get working on it in earnest, I would need 3 cameras to cover the whole thing. Okay. So this one, of course, I can't see that side. Damn it. This one has a couple of indentations, but I don't think they're actually for anything to go into them. They look like they're either gauges or knobs to open a panel. Especially if it'll focus. This piece right here, the spot right here, that white spot is actually an indentation for the to open that drawer looking thing. It's the glove box. Yeah, it's the glove box. Only problem is, well, this ain't right. Only problem is, you can't reach the glove box when you're in the ship.
And then there was light.
Yay! Let me see. Let me get other cockpit so I can take a look. Looks almost like you plug something into the holes in these two pieces, but there's nothing in the very small picture that I have. I think I'm using Gus's method completely so that I don't have to fight with this thing.
Let's see if I can do this. And there you go. There's one of 4 yellow LEDs.
Nice.
There'll be 2 more here and here.
What's funny is that usually the camera washes it out,
Yeah.
but that when I looked up, that actually looked really screen accurate to it.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Nope. 3mm. Here we go. 3mm flat tops. Got them from HDA Model Works.
It's a good place to get stuff.
Yep.
Suspense. I was looking at your bird of prey
Mm-hmm.
on the wings. Was that 3D print or was that a lot of work in brass tube?
You mean for the disruptors?
Yes.
That was brass and aluminum too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very
There-
impressive.
They're I believe it was over on All Scale Trek platform years ago. User over there, the name of Trekrific. I think his name is Steve. He did basically what I did. I took inspiration from it. But yeah, that was just before the Green Strawberry. Well, that was a little while before the Green Strawberry detail sets came out. I think those are 3D printed.
I like the fact that Green Strawberry brought back the hinge for the wing.
Yeah, that's actually a different. That's actually a different design. Because I have the DLM art. It's a bit of a different thing.
Yeah, I remember when he first came out with the hinge for the wing. I looked at that and I'm like, this is back when I first got it about 7 years ago. I looked at it. I'm like, it's a $25 model, and you want me to put a $75 part into it?
Yeah.
And now, here we are, years down the road. I'm working on a $300 or $400 Titanic, and I've put $1,200 into it.
You don't want to know how much money I've sunk into what's going to be the 537 refit.
I'm pretty sure based on what I saw from your bird of prey.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be pretty freaking awesome. And I know how much that stuff costs because that's what I do. My problem is I've gotten over I paid $50 for a model. I'm not putting another $200 into it. I'm like, yeah, $200's not bad. It's not $500. Is it bad that we're willing to sink that kind of model or money into just a hunk of plastic?
Well, I mean, you do what you love.
Yep.
So here's what's got to happen with this. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. So I'm going to have to run a power wire up through here. Probably run it to this LED, then run my series resistor in this channel, then another wire to this one, over to this one, and back down. And bob and weave through all this nonsense because I can't get rid of this. These are critical alignment pieces. And then I got to do the whole kit and caboodle back over here again a second time.
Well, that's the thing is if you're not worried about possibly losing one, which means you lose them all, I would run them all in series.
I can't. Because there's 6 total. And they're about 2 volts apiece, so I'd need 12 volts, and I'm running at 9.
That would put a hamper on that.
But it's only 2 I want to have the option of running it on a DC supply or a 9-volt battery. Plus, at that point, you're still right on the edge because they are almost exactly 2 volts drop across each one. So you're right at 12 volts. And the resistor value you'd need starts getting a little wonky when you're right at that sort of edge.
That's the thing too. Is I've done it where I put enough voltage drop across the LEDs that when it comes time to put resistors, I don't. I've actually done enough of a voltage drop before that the resistor wasn't needed.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that.
But
You
one
just got to
spike,
you just got to be careful.
one spike, everything's gone.
Yep. And if one LED drifts out of spec over time or something else, yeah.
Yep.
But still, it's only 2 resistors, manageable, even in this ridiculous maze.
So now for the fun part.
And this is my control board,
Cool.
designed by. Yeah. All this does is a flicker effect, but I'm not particularly. I mean, I don't mind like just pre-made flickering LEDs, but to me, for this, they looked a bit too slow. The flicker was just not fast enough for me. I wanted it to look more like an engine than a candle. So
Yeah.
otherwise, I would have gone with just flickering LEDs.
You know what happens if you put flickering LEDs in series, right?
Yep.
I did that one time, not thinking about it. You know what happens then, Donnie? Nope. Nothing turns on.
Nope.
Because the power from the first one doesn't get out because the other ones aren't letting, they're in different sequence. So nothing turns on. Yeah, well, the first time you do it, you're like, the hell? I'm sitting here and I'm looking for my X-Acto, and I think my wife may have borrowed it. Either she borrowed it or it's somewhere else on the bench. And it's very, very well could be somewhere else on the bench. But that's why I have many X-Actos.
I think I've done enough work on the Slave One today. Time to turn my attention over to Mr. Myers.
He prefers to be called Michael.
I thought it was the evil. The evil is gone. The evil has escaped.
Yeah. Come on. Every now and then I think about it, and it's like, it's pretty amazing how sometimes things work. Because if it wasn't for that movie, we very well may never have heard of Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's true.
Or what was it? Star Trek, was it 2 or 3?
Christy Alley,
Yep.
Star Trek 2. Yep. Robin Curtis, I think. I could be wrong.
That's
Robin
right.
Something.
Well, Kirstie Alley's problem was she got into Star Trek and she got an actually pretty good role. And for the next one, she was like, I want more money.
Give me my money.
And they said, you don't need more money. We can get somebody else to take that job.
Well, part of it was, Leonard Nimoy leaving. We're going to replace him with Sarek or Savick, and there was going to be a love interest between her and David, and the
Yeah.
whole thing. But everybody was like, "No, we want Spock back. We want him back."
They weren't sure. Well, actually, I think it was right after that Nimoy decided that he would, right after it was released, that he decided he would stick around.
Yeah, I remember reading something about his death scene or something, and gave him the inspiration to come back, and
Yeah.
something like that. Some actor thing.
Well, and I've read that a lot of it was because it was because of two people, that a lot of the actors were not so sure they wanted to be part of Star Trek. Roddenberry and Shatner.
Yeah.
I mean, Gene did a good thing when he came up with the concept, but he kept trying to keep control of it.
And we wouldn't have had Star Trek if it wasn't for Lucille Ball.
True. Very true.
Yep. Yep.
You mean
Well, that would
originally?
Yeah. I mean, that would be a. Yeah, the Star Trek.
Yeah. I had not heard that before. The boys are starting to wax nostalgic about having been in the military. Over on Discord. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't relate. I would never pass physical.
I can relate only because I spent my 24, and they're talking about, they'd go back in a heartbeat. I'm like, nope, not me. I'm done. Mm-mm. I did 24, and that was plenty.
Yeah, turned 18, did a physical for college, and did the blood screening stuff, and they said, no, you got the genes for hyperclotting. So I did wind up getting a blood clot.
That's not good.
Well, I'm on top of it, but Army isn't going to pay. Probably ain't going to pay however many $100 a month for blood thinners or pay for constant blood work.
Oh no, back then they wouldn't, but these days they will.
Oh yeah, they will these days, but I'm well beyond eligibility at this point.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Eh,
You're beyond eligibility for the Air Force, but I think the Army takes people in their 40s. Air Force
I'd be-
stops at 27.
I could see the Army doing that. Yeah. I am partially colorblind, but only in my left eye. I mean, it's not.
Oh, come on, why not? No, that's the medic. Chaplain's a guy that runs up to the guy who just got his arm blown off and said, "Dude, let me tell you about God and how you're going to meet him in about 5 minutes. Do you want to confess?"
That's good.
What was funny was one of my friends who worked in the hospital at my first base. When he went to tech school as a, if he, damn it, that wasn't supposed to happen. When he went to tech school, they taught him about the Red Cross on his helmet and everything else, and that you're supposed to be a non-combatant. They're not supposed to shoot at you and everything. After they taught him that, they said, so the first thing you do if you get into combat is take that target off of your helmet, because the other guys will shoot at you. Well, I mean, that's a perfect target. Yep. It's like in Korea and Vietnam. In Korea and Vietnam, they figured out that you could light 2 cigarettes off of one match, but not 3. Yep. Because when you light the match and the first cigarette, they see you.
Yep.
They take aim on the second one. And on the third one, they pull the trigger. So whoever you don't like, light his cigarette third. Now, you know what you need? I have what you need. Hundreds of unused screws from other builds. You just didn't put enough in there. Mm-hmm. That's not good. So I was going to try and pick this walkie-talkie looking piece off of here. And then I looked at the picture and they replaced the walkie-talkie looking piece with this clear piece. But there's no way to get light into that clear piece. Yeah, no. And it would look really cool because there's this other piece that fits right down on top of it really nice. Uh-uh. No, I still got to pull all these, and some of these, pull these all off, and some of these are actually super glued on. Well, there is that. No.
No, because you're welding the plastic together.
And I'm pretty sure that the result was not near as clean as it was when you started.
I had an Enterprise D that was put together with Bluetooth glue. Take a hobby blade, put it in between the parts, twist, pop.
Yep.
Nope. Just an adhesive. Here's Michael. Everything but the hands and the head. I got arms cemented on, seams sanded, used a little bit of some Liquitex modeling paste to fill in what gaps there were, and I think he's ready for primer, or at least this is ready for primer.
Yep.
And the head. But there is going to be a significant gaposis where the neck meets the shirt.
You
I
know,
think that's
if you had a Captain Kirk model kit, it would be funny to just put Kirk's head on him.
Kirk in a jumpsuit.
I was just thinking because it
What
is
is
a
this
Kirk
one?
model or a mask.
Yeah, what is this? 1/6? This is 1/8. I don't think I have. I wouldn't even know where to get a 1/8 Kirk head except print one. I think all the ones out there are 1/6.
Yeah, I think so.
Little flickering LED that comes with the kit for the pumpkin. You know I'm not using that. I'm going to make my own circuit. Put a soundboard in it. Play the Halloween theme. Yeah, I was thinking maybe the theme, couple of voice clips, maybe the uh, yeah, probably that. Probably one that does the Dr. Loomis talk about, the devil's eyes and pure evil and all that good stuff.
So they're still talking about having been in. Eric said I'd go back in the Army again in a heartbeat. Tried numerous times, won't let me in due to injuries. Kenny said medical no-go. Shu said I think I'd still be in if I could. Kenny said I regret not staying in. Shu said I know how you feel. And so I had to say I'll stay quiet. Couldn't help myself. So let me think. 33 years right now between in and out of uniform.
Mm.
The magic number is going to be 40. When I turn 62, I will be just over 40 years in and out of uniform. And I think that's enough. I also think I just glued my finger to this model. Oh, I got lucky. I did not glue my finger to the model.
Why don't you want to fit?
At least they're taking it good naturedly. They both Eric and Shu did a laugh.
I don't want to look at the instructions. I'm pretty sure this is where the parts go, but those pegs are way too freaking big. Mm-hmm. I don't have any minis to paint, but maybe I'll photobomb Eric's stream on Friday.
You saw what I was doing on Friday. They aren't minis. They aren't minis, but they were minis.
I just mentioned it.
We're talking about bombing Eric. Oh, wait. Photo bombing Eric. Sorry.
Okay.
Sure, why not? Yes. I have a yard waste can full of it. Yep. 4 little dogs make as much as any one big dog. And some of them are not really little dogs. And I've only got one.
We got a neighbor's got a Great Dane living atop the hill above us. That dog is a chicken shit if there ever was one. Oh. We had a little miniature schnauzer at one point. Little terrier breed, so they don't care if they're going to get their butt kicked. All they know is they got to go up and tell the other dog who's boss. Walking him one day, out of nowhere, this purebred husky appears. Only time I saw him. Never saw him before that, never saw him after that. Jumped on him. I had to literally just drive my fist as hard as I could between his eyes to get him off that dog. It was absolutely nuts. Like I said, never saw that dog before, never saw it again.
And there was no.
Are you kidding me? Nope. Yep. My brother has a pit bull, and he has to deal with the same nonsense.
That is completely asinine. Because pit bulls are not bad dogs.
No, they're incredibly loyal.
For the most part, they aren't bad dogs. They're just bad owners. Well, that makes sense. It's like, why isn't this part going to fit there? Because I'm putting it on the wrong side. The bad part was I was about to actually try and put the part in there before I realized that it was the wrong part. Come on. What do you guys think so far?
Yeah. Looks
Yep.
Really good.
I think I should put this one in instead. Oh, it's going to be sweet.
Don't talk about the Batmobile, please.
Yeah,
Oh.
somebody bullied Spence the other day about trying to get him into the Batmobile build.
Not bullied.
Huh?
Wasn't being bullied.
Wasn't me. Maybe it was. Okay, how about it wasn't only me? But I understand what where you're coming from, Spence, because it was a long time before I got involved with one. The problem is once you do one, you want to do the next one and the next one.
That is exactly why I haven't done it yet. Steadier source of income? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But right now, just ain't got quite enough of a stable revenue stream for that.
Yeah. I hear you. I remember those days. Yeah.
Once I get the Gorgon bust and a couple other things on my wish list, I probably will. Yeah. And I was thinking about going to. I'm considering getting the 48 scale Y wing from Falcon 3D Parts.
Does he actually sell a full kit?
It was there the last time I looked.
I didn't realize he
cheap.
was. I didn't realize he was doing full kits now.
Yeah, like I said, it ain't cheap.
I am really impressed with his aftermarket. My first aftermarket from him was the engine for the Millennium Falcon. And the board, something happened to the board. He actually paid to have me ship it back to him, fixed it, replaced the engine LEDs, everything. I mean, I was really impressed. Yes, absolutely. Unlike a certain model company, who I have a complaint in with the Better Business Bureau, and I'm still waiting for their to get refunded. It's been over a month. And I apologize for ever sending you guys to Internet Hobbies.
Oh, I had bad experience with them well before that.
Well, so that's the thing is with the Titanic, I had a really good experience. You know, he was really good. I got it in a decent amount of time after it was released. With the Queen Elizabeth II, I already have the Queen Elizabeth II, but I wanted the Platinum Edition with the photo etch and the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's been on back order since September. And in December, I found somewhere where I could get it for the same cost if he would just send me my money back. And so I tried to cancel it because he still hasn't gotten it. Matter of fact, in January, he said that I lied when I said that it was already released because he just talked to Revell. And I immediately went to several websites where it was for sale for, albeit a little bit more than he had his listed for, but it was available. And I said, I basically said, I'm not lying. You're just a crappy merchant.
Yeah. I tried to order a paint set from him or whoever it was. And wound up just waiting. And sent email after email after email, no response. And then finally, just one day out of the blue, canceled it. Never, no email, no warning, no nothing. Went over to Michigan Toy Soldier, ordered it. He said, I don't have it, but I will pull all the individual bottles off the shelves that I have, send them to you, and send you the rest whenever I get them in stock.
The amazing thing to me is when he finally canceled that order, he canceled it because of he put on it fraud. I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, you mean your fraud? Your fraud? Because you kept saying you have you're going to have it in next month and you never do. Yeah. They sent him a whole new dragon? Wow.
Jeez.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so next Eric needs to send it to Spence and then to me. And I would never do that to a company that has that kind of customer service, because that's what kills that kind of customer service.
Yep.
I am so glad I put little or no glue on any of these parts. Yep. There were a few parts that, well, and most of them fit really well to where they don't need it. There were a few parts that I did glue, and I'm like, dumbass. Oh, shit. Well, I'm very carefully moving my chair because the black part that just came off, I felt it hit me in the chest, and I heard it hit my slipper. So now I'm going to be in an epic battle with the carpet monster, or actually it's a tile monster, so it's not as bad. But the problem with tile versus carpet is that when something hits tile, it could end up in New York from O'Fallon. The great part about the Agostini is that if I email them or call them and say, yeah, I've lost this part, they will send it to me in June. Okay. Yes, that's how long it's going to take before they actually send it out. I sent on the Millennium Falcon, I had some issues, and I sent them or called them and asked them to send me the parts out, and they said, yeah, no problem. 2.5 months later, after I had already finished, made a workaround and finished the model, those parts showed up. Yep. The fact that they'll send it out for free is pretty good. I mean, I brag on Eagle Moss pretty badly all the time, but they did send out say bad things about them. But they did send out the mirrored base and issue 12 pretty quickly after I finally got them to understand that I didn't ever get it. It took them, I had to wait 5 weeks before they would actually do something about it. And what was funny was they waited long enough so that I got the original one 2 days before I got the replacement. Well, the sad part was that, according to Pitney Bowes, it arrived at my local post office on the 18th of December. And I finally got them to reship on the 15th of February. Yeah, there was no tracking once it got to O'Fallon. So I'm thinking, wow, I am freaking awesome. Sorry. But I'm thinking what happened was it was on a truck and post office just wasn't unloading the truck. And when they finally did, it was 2 months later. There. I just found that. So, me 1, Carpet Monster 0, or Tile Monster, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So, how far out do you live that they only deliver once a week? And they only deliver once a week? That's weird. Ah, so what's happening is that because of the virus and their mismanagement recently, they don't have the people to run all the routes.
Is there like actual like USPS trucks, or are you like a highway contract or something? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a highway contractor. That's all we have here. Yeah.
Well, the problem is right now for the post office is the LLVs, their Jeep looking thing.
Yeah.
Most of them are up around 1 million miles, and that's what they were designed to last. And so they're still trying to fight out a contract to get a new vehicle. Yes, they were designed to last 1 million miles, which means they've got some really bad design flaws to them, like an aluminum block. That's what. Well, see,
Buy
that's the
another
thing. It looks like a Jeep. It's not a Jeep. I think it's actually made by GM. And the reason they can do that is that they change the oil very regularly, and it is literally it's a frame, an engine, and a box. There's no AC in it. The AC is the fan that you see on the dash. Oh, they could, but it doesn't make a lot of money if you're not buying a new car. I mean, the only reason I have my Jeep, and the only reason I got rid of the Yaris is because the Yaris was getting long in the tooth and old. It was, what was it? 10 years old, 10 or 11 years old. had 120 or 130,000 miles on it, but that was all. It was still an excellent vehicle, still ran. But I was like, I want a new car. I mean, it ran fast enough that I got a speeding ticket coming over here from California. And the cop actually told me that to slow down from here to such and such town because we were told to get out there and write tickets. Yeah. Well, I was only doing 80 and a 65. Maybe it was 80 and a 60. I remember I was hauling. And it was so funny because he knew exactly that we were a caravan because he pops his lights on behind my son. My son is like, oh shit, because he had just gotten a ticket in Sacramento. And he was like, this is not going to be good. And the cop is behind him and he's like, sees Nicholas, see him in the rearview mirror, and he's like, waves him out of the way. He's like, get out of the way. He did the same thing to my wife. He comes up behind me. I'm like, well, hopefully he's after somebody else. And nope, it was me. Yep. Well, it was really funny too, because my wife and my son both drove by me like they didn't know me. And I was like, well, when they did, I was like, good. When we moved, the first time we left California while I was active duty, right before we left, my wife got a ticket doing 69 in a 50. And it was one of these things, it was New Year's Eve. I was following her home from the base. We'd just hit the commissary. And she goes, we go out the gate and she's just gone, floors it. And I'm like, okay, I keep telling you. And I'd told her before because we knew we were moving, you get a ticket on the way over to Wisconsin, I am going to pass you like I don't know you. And she got a ticket that day when she got her ticket. I passed her like she did. I didn't know her. She got home. She's like, what did you do? I said, not get a ticket for following you. She was upset, but when she passed me like she didn't know me, I was like, good girl. I learned that one from my dad because back in the 70s, they were going from Anchorage to Fairbanks, caravanning. The lady that was behind my dad, that was following, pulled in behind the cop when Dad got a ticket. And so the cop gave her a ticket too because he knew she was speeding just as fast. Come on.
Yep. Same here.
I was going to say the same thing because I just looked, it's 3:14. We've been at this for 3 hours. Yeah. And the guy, what's funny is the guy whose stream this is never showed up.
He bombed us.
Yeah, he did photobomb us. Yep.
Just tell him that something really important that he absolutely had to know, occurred during the stream, but you just can't exactly remember when it happened.
Yeah.
Go back and we can watch it all.
Same
All right.
here.
Thanks.
You too.
See you later.
Bye.